Hello. Earlier on today, I made a short video about Syria because I completely lost internet on all my computers, and the only thing I had was my mobile phone, which I can make and upload shorts from, and that was it. On Starlink, actually. Right, so that's where I was, and now I have my internet back. I'm going to talk a bit more about Syria. Not only about Syria, the situation that it's in, but also some of the comments I got under the shorts. I'll stick to the really stupid ones. Might be interesting. Okay, I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. A few months ago, I actually made a video about Assad and why he wasn't going to be able to keep hold of Syria, why he wasn't going to be able to hold it together. And I showed a map very similar to this, and I did in a much more simple way. Where's the cursor gone? Oh, there. In a much more simple way, I pointed out that most of the Alawites were in this area, and that there were a lot of Arabs in this area, and these areas here were respectively being taken over by jihadists here and by Turkish-backed troops here. Now, Turkey is right here, and Erdogan has an ambition to become the head of a new Ottoman Empire, which is what's causing a lot of the trouble here in Syria. And that I find it quite ironic that many of the comments underneath my short video were to the effect that the West had been dabbling. No, they hadn't. I'll get to that in a minute, though. And what I said was that the Alawites would probably all flee to this area, and if the Russians managed to maintain control of the ports that they had established in Syria way back, then they would be able to protect the Alawites who were living there. I said that in that video. And I got some fool who may have had some information he had to give me, but he automatically assumed that he was the only righteous person in the equation. Here is the text. Why doesn't Demi mention that the Russians are offering 20,000 Alawites sanctuary at their airbase? I said that months ago. Does that not fit into her narrative? You see, automatically assuming that I was hiding something. As a matter of fact, because of my problems with the internet, I wasn't as clued up as I should have been. Oh, by the way, Assad was finally toppled on behalf of Israel, which is total nonsense. But it fits. It fits the sort of mindset you get from fools like that. Now, it is true that Israel has been over Syria. Israel was bombing the jihadists' emplacements, the gun emplacements, in fact, in a way, helping Assad. But what they were more worried about was jihadists on their front doorstep. So, with the permission of the Russians, Israeli warplanes were coming into this area and bombing the jihadists. That's hardly toppling Assad on behalf of Israel, which just shows what a complete idiot this person is. And I get so angry about people of that type. You know, they see the world through their anti-Israel or anti-West goggles. And so whatever slip I might make, it's obviously, I'm a Mossad spy, or they're paying me extra or something. I wish somebody were. Okay, so what happened was this. There was the Hayat Tahrir Asham, which means the life for the liberation of the Levant. Shams is the whole area here, including Israel and Lebanon and this whole area. And then here there was something called the Free Syrian Army, which was heavily financed, trained and set loose by Turkey. And Assad didn't have a chance against them all. But it has nothing to do with the West. Here, let's have a look at some of the others. Just a minute, I'm interrupting myself here because this was a perfectly reasonable question. This guy was not an idiot, he was asking a proper question. But it was a good question and I had to include it with the other stuff. But don't think I thought this fellow was an idiot. He was asking a genuine question. I'm not really clued up on Syria. What is happening there is awful and barbaric, but wasn't it the West that removed Assad and replaced him with this regime? And no, it wasn't. You see, people are always assuming the West are dabbling. No, what happened was that Turkey was trying to replace Assad with a free Syrian army. And I'm assuming he thought maybe he could control those jihadists over here. I think he's probably lost control. Well, you know how it is. You get you create a monster and then you lose control of it over it. And then there was this one. Didn't Israel help to overthrow Assad, so some of this blood is on their hands? Oh, that should be hands. No, Israel did not help to overthrow Assad. As a matter of fact, I'm quite sure Israel was reasonably happy that Assad might have been in control because they knew more than that clot there. The chaos that is now Syria is far worse for Israel than with Assad there. Now, right, here's another idiot. I'm sorry, but no, I'm not sorry. What else can one expect from a CIA-imposed, USAID-funded leader? I don't know what leader he's talking about, but yeah, I'm quite sure there are foreign secret services doing all sorts here. But the main thing is Turkey. That's the main culprit. Nothing to do with the West. Now, we have somebody here called Errol, and I've kept the names out except in this because this person is really he has a problem. Errol got so worked up for that one short video he made 3 posts, and the first one was, you wanted regime change, you got regime change. Well, I don't know who the you was. It wasn't me, and I'm quite sure it wasn't a lot of people in the governments in the West either. It was Turkey who wanted regime change. Turkey who wants to impose itself on this part of Syria because it's all part of this greater Turkey. Erdogan wants to be a caliph type of situation. And then Errol posted this. Irony, I'll give you irony. No, the only irony that you can manage is the iron that seems to compose most of your brain. The regime change was organised by the people who are now purportedly offering refuge from the very barbarity of their own creation. This is how it works. No sense at all, which we are offering refuge. I suppose he means the Israelis. I'll get to those in a minute. But no, Israel was bombing this area up here where there were jihadis. That's all. Nothing from Assad's point of view, that was nothing but good. Now, and then the next one. This is hilarious. Okay, I can't show you some of the pictures I've seen of what's happening in Syria right now. But please take it from me, hilarity is nowhere near the word. The West and Israel, there you are, use ISIS, Al-Qaeda to topple Assad. Oh, so it's all the West and Israel's fault. Some people just, that I've told you this joke before, the joke about the man who was looking for his car keys under a streetlight, even though he dropped the keys in the car park on the other side, but he thought that it was better to look under the light because he could see the road there. He could see the pavement there. It's exactly the same with fools like this Errol. They're looking in the wrong place. And you think this is funny when you have a joke about a man looking for his car keys under a streetlight. But we've got people like Errol peddling this sort of nonsense. Not so funny anymore, is it? They then allow these people to run amok so as to brutalise the civilians and drive another refugee crisis. And you want people to send aid to the Israelis to give to the people whose suffering they sponsor and rip that aid from other victims in Gaza. This is some ahistorical naivety. You know what a Jamaican friend of mine once said? When you're pointing at somebody, you have three fingers pointing back at yourself, Errol. OK, so let's just talk about Israel. There are many Druze living in this area. It shows Druze here are this sort of khaki green. It shows them here in southern Lebanon, but we'll get rid of that for the moment. And down here. Now, it's a bit more than that. They're sort of more or less spread out. It's now estimated that over 7,000 Christians and Alawites were murdered in Syria in the last 2 days. The Alawites are nominally a sort of Muslim, like the Druze are nominally a sort of Muslim. You have to understand that with the Arab colonisation, religion was forced on the people in the Levant. Some of them had very ancient religions. The Yazidis, for instance, have a religion that I don't know much about it, but from what I've got, it appears to be a sort of sect of Zoroastrianism. And they stay in these tiny persecuted pockets, and they stay. They're not strictly. They don't pretend. The Yazidis, they don't pretend to be Muslims, but the Druze and the Alawites did. They took on some of the. I have no wish to insult either, but in general, for survival, these groups took on some Muslim practices and gave the impression that they followed the Muslim line. But in general, they are not accepted as Muslims by other Muslims, by the main branches, Shia and Sunni. Now, the Alawites are a branch of Shia Muslim, apparently. But yeah, I personally don't believe it. I think there's a lot of secret stuff. The Druze, for instance, there's a lot of secret stuff goes on in Druze communities that, well, I've heard about in a vague sort of way that is not Muslim. OK, I think both the Druze and the Alawites believe in some sort of migration of souls, for instance. So it looks to me like they might be different branches of the same religion that took a little bit of Islam, and so the nature of their particular branch changed a bit. And this is all me just speculating. They're all very secretive and for very good reason. OK, 7,000 Christians and Alawites. Now, I mentioned in my short video, I've seen videos which I cannot show you now of men being forced to crawl on the ground under the guns of the jihadis and told to bark like dogs. They're completely dehumanised, and then, of course, the jihadis usually kill them, I've been told. Because, of course, they're just shooting dogs, and, religious Muslims seem to enjoy shooting dogs. Muhammad's followers were told by Muhammad to get rid of dogs, and they went on a murderous spree until finally a lot of surrounding villagers told Muhammad they need these dogs for herding animals and sheep and stuff, and Muhammad had to tell his followers to cool it. Okay, this is a plea from a Christian. Let's hear what he has to say.
Covering my face now because I don't want anyone to see my face, because if they see me, they will kill me. I'm from Syria. I live now in the city of Latakia. Please, please, please. The media is not showing you anything. The terrorists are killing everyone, children, women, teenagers, old people, just killing. There is more than 100 body in my village now. Even in the city, they are just taking the children and the women and kill them. I don't know what to do with my mom and my two sisters. Please, you gotta help us. Nobody's talking anything about it. Not the social media or the TV channels. They are all hiding the truth.
Hang on. I'm going to swear. All right? So if you're going to be shocked, sit down. Calm down. This fucking idiot Errol here, he starts talking about Gaza. What cheek! What idiocy! What a lack of soul! Look at this poor fellow here. And these people are stuck in these areas. And their only hope is Israel. And that fucking idiot is talking about Gaza. Those well-fed Gazans who starved hostages. Fake refugees in Austria rally in support of the regime committing massacres against Christians in Syria. And Dr. Malouf says, if they support the Islamist regime, what are they doing in Europe? They do not belong in Europe. Anyone who supports the fix these people are in, and I'm only showing him because I can't show you on YouTube the piles of bodies that there are also photos of. That poor fellow.
Please, you gotta help us. Nobody's talking anything about it.
Yeah, I am. But I know not enough are. There was one more comment from somebody with a lot of sense, and she wrote, coming to the UK. And my answer to that was yes, they will be coming to the UK. Not the poor battered Christians, but people like this. They are already here. This guy here. Earlier today, it says here, this Palestinian man who goes by the name of Abu Wadi posted a video on TikTok showing the final steps of his journey from Gaza to Britain in a dinghy. It appears as though he was at the scene of men chanting a battle cry referring to the massacre of Jews. Jews, Jews, remember the Battle of Khaybar. The army of Muhammad is returning. Well, it's not returning, it's branching out. It's branching out to Britain. That man is now in this country. And we have Errol talking about Gaza and irony. Run out of words. I mean, I've run out of words that I can acceptably say because I have a lot more swear words, you know. I went to a British boarding school. Errol was annoyed about me talking about aid. Israel should be able to help these people here by forming some sort of a barrier. And Jordan too will need help to keep the jihadis out of Jordan. The last thing in the world the King of Jordan wants is jihadis. So he'd be quite happy, I think, he'd be quite prepared to help seal this border. I don't want British or any soldiers from the West to come in here and interfere either on Israel or Jordan's behalf. But I think that they could do with a little material help. And I'm sure that That's entirely within the capability of the UN if they chose to do it. My speculation is, though, that they wouldn't choose to do it. OK, till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.